We have seen, and no doubt will continue to see, a great deal of moralizing from both sides of the aisle. But I would urge to both sides perhaps a bit less certitude and a bit more recognition that we are gathered at a time when democracy is in crisis.
He says in a very certain and moralizing tone. He issued a statement today reading in part, the attack at the Capitol was a despicable act of terrorism and a shocking assault on our democratic system. He also reissued his call for a commission to investigate the alleged election fraud, which we should say yet again has never, ever, not even once, been proved. As for Josh Hawley, the up-and-coming senator who first fueled the false hopes of the president and his violent followers, that Congress would somehow overturn the election, he too decried the violence, even though just a short time earlier he'd been raising his fist in solidarity with the crowd. Tough guy. Still hoping to keep the president and his supporters on their good side for future elections, Senators Hawley and Cruz maintained their objections, vicious though they were, to the electoral count throughout this episode. And to the end, they were there trying to cover their role as enablers in their standard layer of smooth talk and debating points. Other enablers, though, blew a different kind of smoke. Here's Senator Graham seeming to say the real damage here was to his friend, not democracy.
As to yesterday, it breaks my heart that my friend, a president of a consequence, would allow yesterday to happen. And it will be a major part of his presidency. It was a self-inflicted wound. It was going too far.
This from a man who back in 2015, when he was running against him for president, said the president's comments are gonna, quote, gonna kill my party. More recently, though, this particular profile in Courage also had a role to play leading up to yesterday, trying to get the state of Georgia to reverse the president's defeat there.
I asked if the ballots could be matched back to the voters, and then I got the sense it implied that then you could throw those out. And he really would look at the counties with the highest frequent error of signatures. So that's the impression that I got. Well, it's just an implication that look hard and see how many ballots you could throw out.
Remember, that's the guy the president and his supporters demonized for simply following the law. So whether it was Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley's aw shucks pot stirring, or Lindsey Graham's dubious phone calls, Mitch McConnell's cynical tolerance, or Mo Brooks' out-and-out war cry, the people invaded the Capitol yesterday, and the person or persons who set pipe bombs and swung makeshift clubs, they had plenty of validation for what they did and encouragement. And as Democratic Congressman Conor Lamb pointed out yesterday, it continues.
That attack today, it didn't materialize out of nowhere. It was inspired by lies, the same lies that you're hearing in this room tonight. And the members who are repeating those lies should be ashamed of themselves. Their constituents should be ashamed of them.
And we should point out that a number of Republican lawmakers have not gone along with this. They've stood up. Senator Mitt Romney, for one, also Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Other GOP lawmakers who had planned on objecting to the vote count yesterday, they changed their minds. Sure, only after the rioters came and went, only after they felt a sense of fear, knew the fear others feel, when people are pounding at the door. And again, to Congressman Lamb's point, even so-called grown-ups like Senator Marco Rubio, they were still sowing election fraud doubt hours after the attack ended.
Democracy doesn't just depend on having elections. It depends on people's confidence in those elections,
right,
and their willingness to abide by those results. They're interrelated. I don't know why the Senate can't do Watergate-style, Titanic-style hearings. We could take testimony, subpoena records. It wouldn't change the outcome of this race, but it would give people the clarity of the answer. And by the way, the changes that we need to make.
Remember the President's Voter Fraud Commission, Chris Kobach, big hoopla, they were going to find out, get to the bottom of it? Got disbanded, because there is no widespread voter fraud in this country that affects elections. There are cases here and there, and that should be prosecuted. But there's no widespread voter fraud, not in this country, not now. Again, it cannot be said too often there is no evidence of any consequential voter fraud anywhere, not now, not in decades. But as the president showed during that call this weekend to Brad Raffensperger, it's now a token of faith among Republicans who've mainlined into the body politic using social media. Today, Facebook blocked the president from posting. Yesterday, Twitter suspended his account. It's been restored, I understand. It's not just social media. So-called mainstream outlets like Fox News pumping the same poison mainstreaming the same lies, gliding over the same bad behavior. Earlier today, it all got too much, even for a diehard conservative Republican, Trey Gowdy. He was surprised when the anchor on Fox he was talking to seemed not to make the connection between the president's speech yesterday and the rioters storming the Capitol.
Who told them to do that?
Did you hear the speech? Did you listen to the president's speech yesterday?
I did.
Then you tell me. Who said that? Who said go fight? Who blamed Mike Pence? Who blamed Republicans? Who said the election was stolen?
Shortly before that moment, Fox anchor Brian Kilmeade admitted, quote, the president's behavior has been terrible since the election. But as you saw, old habits die hard. In any case, 13 days before the end of the administration, it's a little late in the game, which as we saw, and as we're still seeing, is no game at all.
What we witnessed yesterday was not dissent, it was not disorder, it was not protest, it was chaos. They weren't protesters. Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists. It's that basic, it's that simple. And I wish we could say we couldn't see it coming. But that isn't true. We could see it coming. The past 4 years, we've had a president who's made his contempt for our democracy, our Constitution, the rule of law clear in everything he has done. He unleashed an all-out assault on our institutions of our democracy from the outset. And yesterday was but the culmination of that unrelenting attack.
Now again, the president just put out a video, in part seeking to justify his actions yesterday. We're going to show it in its entirety because it is important from a news standpoint, given we have not heard from the president all day today. But I do just want to, give you a heads up. He lies in this video about his actions yesterday, claiming he called in the National Guard right away, claiming he was outraged by what he saw. And we know he's lying not only because of reporting, but because of what he said previously about what he witnessed. And we'll play you what he said previously after we play you this. It's about 2 minutes and 41 seconds. This is the president's latest statement released just a short time ago.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election and emotions are high. But now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. to the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Now, think if he had said that to the mob before they marched on the Capitol. Would it have made a difference? Listen to what he actually did say to that mob before they attacked the Capitol, in fact, encouraging them and making it sound as if he was going to be walking with them toward the Capitol. This is what he said just before the attack.
We're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength. You have to be strong. As for those people that he called into action, that he claimed he was going to be marching with, the ones that Mo Brooks told to, kick some ass, he now says those people have defiled the seat of American democracy. That is quite a change from what he said while it was happening, as he was watching it on television, and then immediately afterward when he made a taped statement. Here's what he said yesterday, just after the attack, while there were still people on Capitol grounds.
We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil.
Perspective now from CNN senior political analyst Blair Borger and CNN chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta. Jim, it seems to me that the president is now, saying that these people defiled the Capitol. He's soon probably going to be saying that it was Antifa, just like Mo Brooks is suggesting it, and Matt Gaetz and others. And now I guess this is his way of sort of saying, his supporters he loved, and they're great people, but there was these rogue elements dressed up, I guess, in, Trump paraphernalia, pretending to be that actually defiled the Capitol. You have new reporting about what led up to this video tonight. What have you learned?
Yeah, Anderson, I mean, if you believe that the president was trying to bring healing to the country with that video, I have an exciting array of Trump products to sell you. But putting that to the side, Anderson, let me tell you, I talked to a White House advisor earlier this evening who said, listen, the president put out this video because he was facing imminent resignations from his senior staff, and because he is facing potentially an imminent impeachment process. And this advisor went on to say that message and tone should have been relayed on election night or shortly thereafter, not after people died, which is essentially what happened. The president released this message this evening because his house is on fire, and he is facing the prospect of losing his presidency before it's over. And I will tell you, one of the people he has to be worried about right now is Vice President Mike Pence. Now, we are being told that it is unlikely that Pence is going to pursue the 25th Amendment option. But at the same time, I will tell you, his people are telling me that they are very upset with President Trump for not checking in on the vice president and his family. He was with his wife and daughter yesterday up on Capitol Hill. And they're very upset with the president because the president essentially tried to strong-arm the vice president into carrying out a procedural coup, which obviously didn't happen. Vice President Pence is the last person in the world that President Trump wants to upset right now. Because if Vice President Pence becomes president, remember, Donald Trump probably would like a pardon at the end of this process.
I don't understand.
So, yeah.
What do these people expect? I mean, what does Vice President Pence expect? I mean, he's been at the side of this man as this man has, mocked, disabled people. I mean, the list of things outrageous. Yeah. What do these people expect?
I 100% agree with you. It is one of the, I think, storylines of this presidency. People thinking they could ride the tiger without ending up in its mouth.
Yeah.